Okay, go ahead.
Okay, camera's rolling, and then we be rocking, right? Rocking and rolling, even though it's old-fashioned and brain dead. Been brain dead rock and roll since the 70s, possibly. Anyway, do you want to do that?
What?
This first.
Oh, the best of enemies.
She's not ready. You know, she doesn't have her notes here and stuff like that.
The acting was good.
You sound surprised.
Yeah, I was.
There you go.
But I don't think the story was worth telling, honestly. One thing I'll say about it is that what was her name in this? I think it was Annie something. I hadn't heard of this woman, so I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Maybe people have heard of her after this. Is this something like a blockbuster, a recent
It's
release?
about Anne Atwater and C.P. Ellis. So, anyway, this Anne Ellis was obviously a yellow kind of personality type. And I would say he would be more of a red, but maybe not. It's hard to say, but definitely a yellow.
Sometimes those folks get along with each other. You know what I'm saying? They get on the same wavelength.
Well, and I'm not going to give away the ending here. This was based on a true story, but honestly, I don't think it was really worth watching. I mean, I left the house several times. Like, not only just the room. Like, sometimes I'll get bored and I'll go to the kitchen, I'll do whatever. Nope, I went out and collected seeds. And then I moved the garbage can and the recycling bin around.
Ooh, okay. Well,
so I mean, I really got doing a lot of things outside the house,
well,
which is a
good
bad
stuff,
sign.
You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a good sign, you know. Like
Well, it makes me productive, but it says
not a lot about that. I mean, if it was a really bad thing, you'd be bummed out, though. Admit it.
Yeah, I wasn't bummed out. I came back in. I'd watch a little bit. I'd go back out, and one thing, it shows I don't know. They're trying to decide on a topic, and they're doing a vote on. Well, what it is to bring the schools together, so there's not a black and a white school and whatever. And so they're voting to bring these schools together, and
amalgamate or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if this was a temporary thing or if this became a permanent thing. Anyway, I don't know the history on this, and all I know is about this movie, and very little because, as I said, out of the house. So, but I did see the vote, and it took place with the people it was a panel of people that were voting, and they would come up one by one, yes or no, in front of the whole crowd.
Weird.
And that is not the way to do a vote, because I mean, you're right up there, and you know you're going to be judged by your peers. So.
Now, who was voting? Like voters, or?
Well, it was a panel of people that were selected to vote, but then they were harassed by the public and this and that, and so.
Why not just have a referendum?
You know what? I don't know. Why don't you talk about the official guide to the players of the Hockey Hall of Fame? Because honestly, this is not worth saying anymore.
Yeah, there we go.
It was just not worth watching.
Official guide to the players of the Hockey Hall of Fame, and what year was it? I even noted it here, 2010. A little bit out of date, but what the heck? It takes. There's a lot of delay anyway getting elected or appointed to the Hall of Fame. You're not elected by the fans, and maybe that's for the better. Maybe this Hall of Fame is kind of ridiculous because they put in too many early. You know, if you were an early hockey player, 50% chance of making into the Hall of Fame, and then more recently they've been
a little more selective.
Exactly right. That's exactly. But when you're dealing with a selected part, then it's interesting. So I wanted to use this. It's actually quite useful. You know, I was evaluating. You can see Bobby Orr here, Don Cherry's favorite player. Kissed him many times, and that's probably softened up.
Not you. You didn't kiss him.
No, Don Cherry didn't. I wouldn't mind kissing him, but I wouldn't go doing it on TV or anything like that. Yeah, because it kind of embarrasses Bobby Orr and stuff like that. I wouldn't go out of my way to do it, but if I got a lot of money for it, I would do it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be terribly embarrassed. Here's Wayne Gretzky and stuff like that. Gordie Howe, another guy people say the greatest of all time. And Rod Langway, I don't know what he's doing there. Rocket Richard. Here's maybe the best two-way player of all time, and one of the dirtiest, Bobby Clark. And they left out Bobby Hull. You know, they got Tony Esposito. They got a lot of teams represented. Tony Esposito from Chicago Blackhawks. They should have had Bobby Hull there, maybe the best left winger ever. He wasn't very good off the rink. He was good signing autographs, but I think he was a wife beater and a bit of an alcoholic and stuff like that. He tried to be a nice guy, but you know, he left it at the rink. You know what I'm saying? The niceness. But at any rate, you know, like I was able to evaluate who the greatest player of all time was. You know, like by looking at the statistics. And to me, greatest is, you know, you get a lot of young pups nowadays. Look at those goalies back then. Man, they couldn't stop a fly. And the deal is, yeah, the goalies' equipment is about half the size than that it is now. So they're saying, Wayne Gretzky wouldn't have any goals nowadays. And so guys would kill him. Here's what one of the worst killers way back when in the early 80s, late 70s as well, but that was before Gretzky hit the league, said about trying to hit Wayne Gretzky, and it'd be the same problem nowadays for the bozos on skates now. He said trying to hit Wayne Gretzky was like trying to hit a rope. You try that. You know, Gretzky was kind of lithe, and there wasn't a lot of muscle and stuff like that to hit. So what I'll say about Wayne Gretzky is, here's the deal. In the 70s, late 70s actually, I can remember there's this guy in physics and mathematics. He was a very bright individual. And he was a Montreal Canadiens fan, so was I.
Go ahead.
And this guy, Ron Rice, asked me, is there a guy out there who combines physical ability with mental acuity out there on the rinks? And I said, well, there's Guy Lafleur. And Guy Lafleur was the dominant player then in the late 70s. And he said, nah, he's dumb. You know, I said, yeah, I think he is. And then I said, well, there's Bobby Clark. See, I showed Bobby Clark, but Guy Lafleur wasn't featured in. And he said, yeah, no talent. A really smart guy. You know, like he knew how to chisel a guy's eye out with his stick and stuff like this. But he was very effective defensively, not just by cheating. Like I say, maybe the best two-way player was pretty good offensive player as well, Bobby Clark. Offensive in more ways than one. And so, but what I didn't realize there in the late 70s was the guy existed that this guy was dreaming about. He was a young pup, wasn't in the majors at that point in time, and his name was Wayne Gretzky. One of the most talented to come down the pike, not the most talented, but the smartest. You know, I got hold of a video series, DVD series of the Edmonton Oilers' 10 greatest games. And I think only 6 of them featured Wayne Gretzky. No. Those other 4 I don't want to know about. I only want to know games where Wayne Gretzky was there. Because there'd be like the top, I don't know how many games he played with the Oilers, but it would be hundreds of games. Those would be the top whatever of games. You guys at the Oilers don't realize, like you've seen the best, not the best hockey player, you've seen the best team athlete ever in any sport. I don't know any player who's been this dominant. Maybe Wilt Chamberlain, but he wasn't a... Wilt Chamberlain only won 1 championship. Wayne Gretzky... Yeah,
but Wayne Gretzky wouldn't have been a red. He would have been a green, I would think.
He just got things done.
Honestly, this, like...
Gordie Howe's a red.
Rockwell, or whatever his name is in this, the actor, he played a green. Mm-hmm. He didn't seem like a red, but... Honestly, I think that might have been Sam Rockwell. But this woman, she did an awesome job acting. This is Taraji P. Henson, I think. I don't know how to pronounce that name. But her, I believe the character was a yellow, just based on dialogue and how the person that she was. I don't know about the character Sam Rockwell. He was supposed to be green, but yeah, Wayne Gretzky, he doesn't.
Well, he
He's-
wasn't an entertainer. You see, like
No.
you get someone like Michael Jordan, or even more Kobe
But
Bryant.
he was
They're
obviously very
entertainers, right? They're
entertaining
not out there
for
to win.
you. But
No, but that wasn't the
That
point.
wasn't
the
the
point was
point,
to win.
yeah.
He was analyzing.
yes, but
So-
he was working with
Gordie Howe
The-
was a
the
dominant.
team.
See him wearing red, good sort of thing. So you know.
yeah. Well, that's not of
he
his
was-
free will, though.
No, but that actually it's a good sort of thing because it symbolizes him because he was a red. He might go out there and elbow you and beat you up and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
If you were outplaying him, then he'd try to beat you up, and that's the Don Cherry type of thing. That's what a lot of guys are like. If you show them up, they'll beat you up, and that's wrong. Wayne Gretzky wouldn't do that, right?
Yeah.
He'd be like the little mouse who'd always be making a fool out of Jerry, and the cat, and the Tom making a fool of Jerry. And here's the deal. My favorite game, I like watching of these 10 greatest Oiler games. This might be the greatest
No, but
game
a lot
ever
of
played by
Reds actually won't beat you up. A lot of Reds won't.
Well, another red is Bobby Clark. Bobby Clark was a cheater, but he wouldn't really beat you up, but he'd be cheating. He was a very effective two-way player. I can remember seeing him as a rookie. They'd give him a bum shave. I didn't know who he was, and I'm saying, this guy is amazing. Best
I
two-way
mean, a
player.
lot of Reds that I've known over the years, they'll just work your mind to try to win the game.
Oh, there are
so
players like that.
they're-
More coaches that do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Bobby Clark would work with mine. There are people who trash talk, for example. Trying to get in someone's head is what they say. So my favorite game is the first game I think they had on the highlight reel, and it was against the Philadelphia Flyers. And I never realized. I watched the game and I didn't realize, or at least I was watching the first few goals and I didn't realize who was supposed to be covering Wayne Gretzky. It was Bobby Clark, the greatest two-way player that I've ever seen. And this is maybe Wayne Gretzky's greatest game. It's when he scored 5 goals and hit 50 goals in 39 games. The previous record had been 50 in 50. And I'd known that game had happened. I'd seen it, but, highlights of it, I never realized who was supposed to cover him. Center to center, it was Bobby Clark. And I only found out a few days ago that here's what Bobby Clark, he was generous after the game. He went and he played against Bobby Orr. At Bobby Orr's height. And here he was playing against Wayne Gretzky. Bobby Clark was a little bit over the hill, but not that much. And here's what he said. He said, here's the difference between, he's talking to Wayne Gretzky, here's the difference between you and Bobby Orr. I don't know where you're coming from. I always knew where Bobby Orr was coming from. And that's what I'd noticed about this game. Wayne Gretzky didn't need the puck. Someone on the other team had the puck, and all of a sudden Wayne Gretzky had it, and it was in the net. And it happened again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Is that 5 times? And here's the thing. Bobby Orr was only great when he had the puck. Wayne Gretzky, when he was on the ice, he was great 100% of the time because he was analyzing the game. And you can't beat that because he was using his brain, not just his physical body. Here's what his dad had him do. He had him, when he was a young pup, look at a game and just follow on a piece of paper where the puck was going. Can you believe that? With a pen. Just following it. And that's what he was doing. His dad had got him into that situation. So people were saying, how did he know the puck would go there? It's because his dad trained him. And Wayne Gretzky, in one other DVD series I got, was very, very clear about this. He said, I'm no different from anyone else. And he's absolutely right. He said, I just trained well. That's what I say about anyone who's good at anything, right? So-called geniuses. Gretzky's not a genius. He was trained by his dad, and then he trained himself. And he's just an ordinary Joe, a 5'11", 5'10" kind of guy, 50 pounds or something like that. And what he really trained more than anything else, he trained all this. He very good eyesight and stuff like that, but he had a brain that's better than any other sports brain I've seen. I've seen great sports brains as coaches, but he had a brain that operated in real time, right out there where their guys are literally trying to put him in hospital, maybe even trying to kill him, and he's putting on the brakes, and they go just slide off of him. And the next thing you know, he's not surviving there. They're sliding off of him. Next thing you know, he's passing to someone. The puck's in the net. This guy was like just a joy for someone who believes in intellectual activity. What I like about sports is I like speed. I like quickness. I like hard work, and Gretzky worked hard. And I like artistry, and I like intelligence. I don't like the physical side, the brutality, the intimidation, the trash talking, and stuff like that. And one of the key things that Bobby Orr didn't perform that well in the playoffs. That's why he only won 2 Stanley Cups. Gretzky won 4. He got shifted to another team. If he stayed to the Oilers, they would have won, well over the 4 that he won, maybe 8 or something like that. And when you look at his performance in the playoffs, he put the hammer down. You thought he was good in the regular season? He was still saving stuff for the playoffs. Already played 80 games or so. And he put the hammer down. He holds records for playoffs. It's wham, 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 wham. And the important thing is, you see, you can say records, and they scored more goals back then and stuff like that. The key thing is, he led the league in scoring 10 times. The next best is 6 times. And he would have won more, except he was up against a guy that you might have even heard of, Super Mario. Mario Lemieux, who won the scoring championship 6 times. And that's tied for the second best. Gordie Howe 6 times. You see how far behind these schmucks were? And the deal is, Gretzky tied an 11th time. He tied with Marcel Dion. Same number of points, but he scored a few goals less. So Dion was given the scoring title. This is stunning. It's amazing. Wilt Chamberlain, lots of records in basketball, but he had trouble winning the big one. Wayne Gretzky, no trouble winning the big one. So this guy's I've watched lots of sports, seen lots of guys, been watching since the 50s, different sports. This guy's it, like, I'm sorry, Bobby Orr fans. No, I'm not. And I'm sorry, Detroit fans. No, actually, I'm not. I'm sorry, basketball fans. I'm sorry, Michael Jordan fans. No, I'm not sorry. LeBron James fans. This guy, he's led the league, the NBA, in scoring in one category once. This guy led in scoring, in goals, and assists, and in shorthanded goals. It just went on and on and on. So there we go. Enough of a rant. No one who watches this.
This is just hockey. I mean, just wait until we talk about soccer one day. It could go on for days and days.
No, I get most excited about Gretzky because I've seen soccer players. I've never seen anyone. Maybe Franz Beckenbauer, who used to play sweeper or libero for the German national team and for Bayern Munich. He was awesome, but he didn't have the physical skills that Gretzky had, and he was nowhere near the intellectual skills that Wayne Gretzky either. No one in no sport. The intellectual skills, Gretzky. That's where he leaves everyone behind. He controlled the whole game while he was on the ice. I've never seen a soccer player like that. So, Gretzky could beat you anyway. He could beat you with a slap shot, beat you passing, he could beat you skating around you, making a fool of you. He could beat you with forechecking, which is where you steal the puck away from someone else. And most people, when they forecheck, they get all nervous, right?
Okay,
Gretzky
but
would be smooth.
I heard you talking about Pele a lot.
Pele was good, but there's a guy better than a little guy called Lionel Messi, the best soccer player I've ever seen. Wee little guy. He's like a cartoon character. He's like Tom. All these idiots like Jerry are trying to mangle him, right?
I think Tom is the cat and Jerry is the mouse.
You're right. Tomcat. Exactly. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jerry. So he's like Jerry. Jerry Messi. Or Lionel Jerry. Or something like that. But he's awesome, He's
I don't know sports at all, but I guess I know Tom and Jerry enough to contribute something.
I don't think he's a great intellectual talent out on the field, but he's maybe the most talented I've seen. Pele got so jealous. He was saying, recently, he was saying Messi has only one trick. I'm going, if he has only one trick, he does it so well, buddy. Way better than Pele. Okay, so Pele wasn't a good playmaker. Messi will set up other players, and he has lots of tricks, believe me. So, no, Pele's not in the same league. The other guy that they compare with him is Diego Maradona. Came from Argentina, like Lionel Messi, but he was a cocaine head and had a very short period where he was at the top of the world. That's not good enough. Pelé was near the top of the world for a long time. Messi, top of the world for quite a long time now. The other guy's the guy that you call the handsome sexual assaulter, right? Mm-hmm. And Cristiano Ronaldo, but no comparison because he doesn't make the plays. Ronaldo is great. If you give him open field, he's very fast with the ball. He's as fast as some guys are without the ball. But the trouble is, Messi's better in cramped conditions. One of the amazing things is you watch Messi, he'll come across the penalty box. He's a left-hander. You know where he's going to go. He's going to end up, from his point of view, in the left hand of the penalty box. That's the area the goaltender is allowed to handle the ball in. He's going to end up there. They know where he's going. And what happens is he often takes something like a straight route to it. But he'll be bobbing his head and kind of using some body language. And you watch these guys, they just fall. It's like watching the parting of the Red Sea for the Israelites or something like that. They'll fall this way, this way, and he just goes straight through to where he wants to go. I'd put 10 guys there where he wants to go. And somehow or another, he'd still get through. And then the next thing you know, he's shooting from there, or he's passing or the goaltender comes up and passes to someone. So he's got some awesome skills. Maybe better than Gretzky's. The thing I like about him, like Gretzky, small guys, you know. When it comes, Gretzky's amazing because it's kind of like a big guy sport, increasingly so. But Messi, soccer's been a sport. One of the reasons why I like it is it's made for people that are big, people that are small, like really small. The best player I've ever played against was a guy called Pichi.
Well, the goalies should
He's playing
be tall.
Probably preferable for them to be tall. And maybe one guy at the back tall.
Those are some big nets. What do you call them nets?
Yep.
They're very large.
Or goals. And the deal is, maybe one guy tall. You need a goaltender who's tall. Both of you goaltenders, the backup one, and then one guy at the back in the center, tall. And I wouldn't waste height on anyone else. I remember there's this guy called Peter Crouch playing for a variety of teams in England. And everyone's saying, man, oh man, he's just going to blow people away on the header. The big trouble is you'd put a header a little bit away from his head, and he couldn't get it to it in time in front of a shorter guy who'd be able to get there faster than him. You see the problem? You get big, long, lanky guys, high center of gravity. They got too much weight on them. He didn't have a lot of weight, but too much weight on them, high center of gravity. They don't move well. So get a smaller guy in there who can actually move well. That's what I believe in. One of the best goals I've ever seen. The Spain team of, when was that? World Cup in 2010. You know, I think it was the World Cup winning goal, or one of their goals that they scored. You know, it was a wee little guy. I don't think it was David Villa, but, a guy puts a cross into the center. It's just right on his head. He's a wee small little guy, 5'9", average height for a guy. And it's just on his head, boom, it's in the net. Right? He didn't need a big guy. It was put on, you get accuracy. It was put on his head, and he just nods it into the net. So, I don't believe in wasting time on big guys, wasting money, energy, or whatever. Get guys who fit into different positions. Average-sized guys, some smaller guys. Best soccer player I ever played against was back in the day, but it would be, I believe, around 1980, 81, somewhere around there. 82. He's from Edmonton. And they called him Pichi, probably P-I-C-H-I. They were speaking Spanish to him, right? I couldn't understand it except arriba, arriba, and a few things like that, you know. And I knew we were in trouble when they started saying that. But he'd come down on us like full speed, basically, given what he was doing. He was juggling the ball. The ball wasn't on the ground. It was up in the air. The only way you could take it away from him was by fouling him. That wasn't my nature. So you just try to control the damage. It's just damage control. He'd be coming down, running at you, and you're trying to back up and try to just keep him from going by you. So just a wee small guy, low center of gravity and stuff like that. So what can you do? You know, that moves that he had, I've never seen anyone at the higher levels have. I don't know what was wrong with him, why he wasn't playing like over in Europe. It was just stunning. It's just, you've seen people dribble stationary, right? He was dribbling, running at you at full speed. Not dribbling, but juggling. We've seen people juggle, right? And so it's mainly with the outside of his foot. It'd just be bouncing along and take, like it bounce, bounce off the outside of his foot. And, wow, I've never seen anything like this. I hope to never see it again. The wee little guy. Well, I used to be 5'9", tall, average height for a guy. And he was well under, he was knee high to a grasshopper. He was still very, very effective. So, like I said, that's what I like about soccer. I don't like football that much. I don't like American football. Big lumps of guys using steroids and stuff like that. Much use for that. Basketball, I like Steph Curry. Eat that, you guys that like big sort of stuff. Steph Curry's a wee little guy. What is he?
Was that
6'3"?
Canadian guy that you
I
like?
like Steve Nash too. He's 6'3"
that's
too.
him.